Financially supporting adult children. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from Domain, which is discussing the bank of mum and dad and how it's a little less generous. Now, people are always going to want to support their children, and there's nothing wrong with that. Remember, charity begins at home, and take care of your family before taking care of others. Yeah, it's an age-old adage that I recommend everyone abide by. But let's have a look at this. Because, well, with the impact of the recession, with the impact of the lockdowns, it's going to be tougher for some people to support their more grown-up children. And with the younger generations really feeling the brunt of this economic impact, the lockdowns and the restrictions, this might lead to some social issues, and particularly if parents and children, or adult children, are now living together once again. So, parents are slightly less likely to help their adult offspring financially now compared with last year, a new survey found. But the bank of mum and dad is turning into a restaurant. See, this is the thing, because really, it's a sign of the times, isn't it? You don't just need one person. Well, you can't really get into a house with one person. It's a lot harder. We see all the stories of people who've managed to buy a house by the time they were 22. It's probably because they worked straight out of high school and they lived at home with their parents where they didn't have to pay any rent or have any other ongoing costs. And then they said, oh, we didn't receive any financial support. But they did. Just make sure, nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you pay it back for the next ones. Make sure that you allow your children to stay with you so they can use that as an opportunity to get in the property market. More than half of the Australian parents with adult children paid for their children's groceries, up 14% from December 2019, a survey by Founder found. That's insane. Okay, now, if I think back to when I first started uni, when I had a share house with one of my good friends, his mother used to buy him groceries and take him to him. All the time, or box them all up, do his grocery shopping for him. I used to laugh at him for it, but nothing wrong with it really. If your parents can afford to do that, why not? Why not? Probably a lot cheaper than all the food I bought and wasted back then, didn't eat. You know how it is. It's fun when Rachel first stayed over at my apartment. I remember I cooked a really good breakfast, a really good spread with all these condiments, nice scrambled eggs, probably I fried up some ham or something. And she was really impressed. It took her a few years to realize that I only have a few tricks in my cooking repertoire. I'm not really a master chef, but I have enough. You just need enough to win the girl, lads. That's all you need to learn, just enough to win them over. Then you're set. Don't go overboard. So, that's probably related to COVID. Finder Insights Manager Graham Cook said, you've got a lot more people living at home. You've got a lot more of the younger generation being affected by the job losses we've seen in the hospitality industry. About 1 in 4 adult children moved back in with their parents in the first wave of the pandemic, a previous survey found, as the health and economic crisis unfolded. That's going to have an impact on investment properties, but you've got to take care of your family. You've got to take care of your family. We've done the same thing for us when we've got family living with us. My sister-in-law, Rachel's sister, she's moved in now because, her job at the airport has, it's on JobKeeper, and I don't know when it's going to come back. So for her to save rent and cut her costs, and it's just more efficient living together as a family unit. We also have Rachel's father living with us. So, we're a big household. We're quite a big household with all of our children. So, that's just what you have to do. And that's, in some ways, that's a good thing to see. Families are coming together. It's something that seems to be forgotten more and more these days. The family unit needs to be the building block of a civilization, of a nation. Not the government. So overall, 44% of parents said they subsidized their adult children, down from 45% in December last year when the economy was stronger. That's the thing. How many of these parents are subsidizing their children, but how many of them can't afford it? The survey showed parents were slightly more likely to help their kids pay their mortgage and go guarantor for them on home loans. Oh, each of these items up 2 percentage points to 6 and 7% respectively. Now that is scary. That is scary. If you want to help your kid. There's one thing buying them groceries. There's one thing buying them groceries or helping out with food. That's just stuff you can do with your family. But go and guarantor a mortgage. That could be putting all of the wealth that you've developed on the line. And we're seeing comments appearing and other things where people are scared. Scared of, if I go bankrupt and my parents are guarantor, will they take the house? Foster Ramsey Finance Director Chris Foster Ramsey said this was how he had seen most of his clients receive family help, through going guarantor rather than parents gifting their children a home deposit. What do you think's worse? I think going guarantor is more of a risk. At least the deposit, okay, you give that to your kid, and then if it all they'll pay you back, or they won't, or it's a gift, it's gone. You don't need to worry about losing your current assets. But that means you're a party to that loan. You're a party to that loan. We actually, Rachel and I, we bought a portion of my parents' house. We bought a big chunk of their house down the Gold Coast so they could just wipe out all their debt and make it easier for them to retire so they didn't have to sell. So we all went to one lawyer, and he found it quite difficult to negotiate. We just wanted him to do the paperwork. And he said, I'm not used to representing both parties in a negotiation. I go, well, just do it. We just want this conveyancing and process done. It probably wasn't the smartest investment on our part, because the property we pretty much just set flat with the value we paid, but it was quite good from the perspective that my parents could get take advantage of that equity that built up and just clear all their debts off, and I'm sure it helped my father. So technically they were guarantors for us on that property, and we still were paying that off for a while. Then finally I cleared it off. I took it off and put it all on this place. But even that, if we had it gone under, they could have gotten in trouble. But there's a risk associated with all of that. That's a little different to this, where, we gave them, some money, whereas opposed to you just sign on the dotted line for your children. What if they're in buying one of these 5% deposit only houses in a suburb, which is nothing special? Maybe they're buying an apartment, which is going to get flooded in the investor market. Ooh, that scares me more than anything here. First home buyers with guarantor help remain constant or a bit up from last year, Mr. Foster Ramsey said. He said people inheriting money were also common, with parents using that money to help their children to buy somewhere close to home. Millennials who have been saving have then been fast-tracked by the overall family situation, he said. Areas where parents had tightened their purse strings included money for cars, transport, bills, childcare, weddings, holidays, and education, with decreases of up to 5 percentage points from the previous survey. Mr. Cook said money for these items was not needed as much during the pandemic thanks to lockdowns and social distancing. There's less of this kind of activity going on, Mr. Cook said. There's a general slight downward trend, but it's pretty small. However, when it comes to helping with rent, either paid in part or in full, rent, and giving their kids money for a home loan, the percentage who said they did was the same as pre-pandemic. Nearly 38% of parents say they were letting their adult children live at home rent-free. Okay, I can understand that. And if you look at helping children pay for a home deposit, there's 15% last time and exactly 15% this time. The October survey interviewed 445 Australian parents with adult children. Well, it's not that much. So more are paying for groceries. The same number are giving free rent. They're paying for bills, broadband, mobile phone, that's down. Providing free childcare, that's down. Paying for car-related costs, that's down 1%, but still 21%. Paid for part or all of the car, 16%, down 5%. Paying for transportation, 18%, down 3%. Paying for some or all of holidays, that's a complete luxury. I guess that could be when you're going on a family holiday and you want your kids to go with you, that's probably the example. And if they can't afford it, but you want them to come overseas or you want them to go somewhere special, you give it to them as a gift. Okay, it's a gift. Paying for subsidizing tertiary education is down 3%. I mean, all of these things, they're just people taking care of their family. Taking care of their family. That's not really that big a deal. It's more a sign that, well, these adult children can't stand on their own feet. They're not earning enough. Or maybe these are ways that they're helping. Providing low rent or free rent is a great way to help your kids save up to get a mortgage or to get a deposit to buy their own place. And I guarantee you that's one of the ways a lot of people will be doing it. But then the problem is, living with an adult child is different to living with a child. But I'm sure that can all be managed. So loan money for a home deposit, 15%. Other, 12%. Help with wedding costs, the 10%. Went guarantor for a loan at 7%, so that's gone up. That's the bit that really worries me. And helping them pay their mortgages at 6%, that's up 2%. So of all of these things, this is the one here that screams the greatest risk. I hope people understand what they're signing up for with that. But see, I mean, everything's going down pretty much except for paying for groceries. So the absolute necessities, food is going up, going guarantor, and helping them pay with their mortgage has gone up, but everything else is pretty much down or flat. What does that tell you all about the economy? 40/40 Finance Director Will Uncles said parents who were very financially stable were still helping their children buy homes, seeing it as an opportune time to get a foot in. Parents who are well off are also usually financially astute, and recognize this may be an opportunity to get their children into the market. He said low interest rates, a slew of government grants, and substantially less competition from investors, particularly those from overseas, were contributing to this thinking. He said people who might have scraped money together to help their kids prior to the pandemic were now less likely to do so as they were uncertain of their own financial stability. So this is the class divide we have here in Australia, everyone. It's just being exacerbated. Mr. Cook said the fact that parents' generosity was only slightly lower than before the pandemic was a little bit surprising, given a large number of people were likely living at home due to the pandemic crisis. Well, I mean, that's capturing that. This is capturing that. This is showing you that living from home, cheap rent, buying groceries are all going up. That's what it is. Of course they're buying groceries for their kids if they're at home. It's cheaper to buy it all as a family. Makes sense. When you buy a beast, you eat it together. He said while the number had not increased, 38% of parents letting adult children live at home rent-free was still a high proportion. And that parents should ensure their kids contribute to the household finances, setting them on a path to be able to fly the nest one day. Well, I mean, this is it. If they're stuck there as in their early 20s and haven't done anything, then that's worrying. That's really worrying if you don't give them a challenging environment. But if they've moved out and then maybe they come back with their partner and you invite them back going, okay, you know what, just stay in the garage for a year. We'll convert it into a room. You two stay there, do your thing. We'll eat together. We'll let you save money so you can get some money together. Those are two different stories, aren't they? Those are two different ways of providing for your children. Charging some sort of rent is probably better than charging no rent, he said. Well, yeah, that's true, but not if if there are losers sitting at home having achieved nothing, then yeah, he's probably right. But if you're trying to help your kids get into the market and they're sensible with their money, then let them do it. What do you all think, everyone? What do you all think? Have you helped your children out? Have you helped them get into the market? Have you supported them? Would you mind having your adult kids come back for some time? Would you help them save up enough so they can get into a property? Would you buy groceries for them? Or are you, someone younger living with your family? How are you finding it now? Or do you not have that privilege? Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create, here there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, have a great day. I'll see you next time.